It's the Spec-5 World Tour Season 17 finale from Laguna Seca. The championship is on the line between Joao Hedler and Michael Folds. It's a double-length race to close out the season. 90 minutes of racing here at beautiful Laguna Seca. There's your track facts. 2.2 miles, 11 turns. Almost all of them incredibly famous, like the corkscrew, like the fast kink at turn 7, like the Andretti hairpin at the end of the front straight. The weather looks absolutely beautiful, but there is a bit of a wind coming from the west. To bring you live coverage today on HJBC, I'm David Haynes with Reese Gardner, Michael Derby in our production as we get ready for a double dose of season-ending, champion-crowning Spec-5 World Tour.
Absolutely. Very excited for this one, David. Hi, everyone. And you mentioned it right off the bat. This is going to be a double-length finale here. We're not racing for 45 minutes this time. We're racing for 90. But I believe the fuel tank restriction is the same. So we're going to be getting a couple of pit stops and a couple of opportunities to talk about strategy here today. Championship, of course, on the line for Joao Hedler, and he and his teammate are there coming into the pits. There's going to be, I think, a concerted effort from Jameson Sambayo to try and protect Hedler from his championship rivals here. It's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, taking a look through the drivers present for the championship finale, and yep, Joao Hedler is here, and he's got Jameson Sampaio. Michael Folds is here, and he's got a couple of teammates across box 5 that might be able to support him. And they're about to head into the qualifying session, 15 minutes, 4 laps, and that'll set the grid for the 90-minute race upcoming. Certainly is. The Laguna is very Seca around here for sure. Lots of dust, sand, gravel being dragged back onto the track in places that we've seen.
I understood that reference. Yeah, checkered flag in practice, and yeah, we do have a very dry track out there in California. Waiting to see who gets the fastest time around this place. Every driver is going to get 4 laps with which to set their time for the grid. The pace setter in practice was, in fact, Sampaio. He was 0.004 of a second faster than Joao Hedler around the track. And about a mid 1 minute 35 lap is what we're going to be expecting from this one. Nice cool track temperatures out there as well. They are racing just past 6 p.m. in the evening, virtual standard time. And we have drivers already out getting ready to set their times here. This is a wonderful track. It's one of the classic American sports car circuits for very good reason. Been around since the mid-1950s. And it's had its layout changed a couple of times over the years, but the basic spectacular parts of the circuit have been there from the very start. It's challenging. It's scary at times. It's Laguna Seca, and we love it.
Trying to work out if there was ever a point in time in Australia where the Toyota Corolla Seca and the Renault Laguna were both on sale at the same time. I think the answer is unfortunately no. They missed each other. So that's a fun fact for absolutely no one. Qualifying underway. We see a different way that the drivers attack the qualifying depending on the length of the racetrack. That's not the racetrack out there for sure. It's a bit too much excitement. When you have a really, really long lap, the out lap puts a lot of heat into the tyres. The first flying lap puts a lot of heat into the tyres, and the second flying lap might drop away and the drivers elect to pit and put a new set of tyres on. When you've got really short laps, tyre temperature builds and builds, and the drivers get more speed on lap 2, on lap 3. This is somewhere in the middle, perhaps not too dissimilar to mid-Ohio, but a little bit more elevation going on. Sampaio attacking the double apex hairpin that opens up the lap.
Yep, making his way through to turn 3, I believe. Turn 1 is technically the kink off the start-finish line. Just sort of using the edge of the curb and the gravel to rotate the car into the corner on that particular occasion. Jameson is pushing hard on this first lap. then a short straight up to this mid-speed left-hander, which is going to be one of the places we might see some passing here on this racetrack. And you better hope you get a pass done before the next corner too.
From the driver's eye, you can't see that red sausage curb at the apex till you've already committed and turned into the corner. That's what makes it so challenging. From the other TV angles, you think, yeah, you got to lift a little bit and turn in, but it's from the driver's eye and perspective where parts of the track are obscured. Same too here at the roller coaster. There it is as you drop over the crest. That's why you need to look at the trees on the far side and aim for the third tree, I was always told.
That's a good tip. One that I'll take forward into my next league race at this place. For Sampaio, executing the final few corners perfectly. This is going to be another one of those prime overtaking opportunities. The final corner, the slowest on the circuit, and using all of the curb and AstroTurf on the way out. First to the line for Sampaio, and looks like he might have gotten an off track on that lap. It did not count. We do have our first couple of laps being set here by Kyle Genske and Brian Jabelski, John Miller as well. Looking like 1 minute 37s being the pace set for now, but as we saw from practice, we can expect those times to be about a second and a half faster.
Expecting the drivers to wheel out a little bit more pace as we go. Joel Hedler up top from John Miller and Michael Coates at the moment. More times coming in. But a whole bunch of drivers look like they've completed a lap and the lap hasn't counted. So Sampaio, Odyssey Adams, Sean Hayes, all drivers who've been around and the lap time hasn't counted for whatever reason of track limits. Irasorkis goes to the top of open class at the moment.
Yep, we can't forget, of course, we have the Pro and Open classes here in Spec-5 World Tour. We're going to have both championships more or less on the line coming into this round, and when we're done with qualifying in the grid, we'll go through those standings to see where everybody is on the way into this final round. See what Irasorkis can do to improve his time here, as that was a very aggressive turn in for the braking zone for the corkscrew. You can see that drivers have already had plenty of adventures at that section of the circuit. Gravel all over the racetrack, which means grip out there is going to be reasonably limited.
Very likely. So we're about to get a wave of drivers completing their second laps of the session. How that might change the order. Joao Hedler stays at the top. Irasorkis, of course, has been dropped to 8th as those other lap times have come through. He crosses the line, improves himself back to 5th, just ahead of Kyle Genske, who's 2nd in that class, and Frankie Sugamali 3rd in that class at the moment. Jemison Sampaio goes to 2nd, so that him and Joao Hedler locking out the front row at the moment. Turning in from a bit of the dirt there is Sampaio, and then getting a tiny bit of dirt on the exit. So now he's pushing the limits incredibly hard.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed about Sampaio here. He's willing to go that extra few millimeters to really get the fastest run through these corners. Of course, it didn't work out for him on his first lap. He did manage to get a time down on his second. We'll see if his third lap here is any kind of improvement. But it's a really good run through qualifying so far for the CFPM team. And we'll see if the Brazilians will be able to keep that lockout of the front row. Sampaio now to the line, and again dipping a wheel into the gravel off the exit. I don't think I've seen anyone push this hard around Laguna Seca before. Sampaio setting another lap, and it's a new personal best in qualifying, a 1:36.0. Still not quite enough to overcome his teammate for provisional pole.
Not even Alex Zanardi? You haven't seen Alex Zanardi push the track limits here?
Well, in real life, I've definitely seen people push it that hard, but in sim racing, not so much. Joao Hedler improves to a 1:35.7, and that is true precision right there. See how he turned in for the first hairpin there. That was incredibly nice to watch. Genske getting himself into 5th overall to take the open class pole position. He's doing quite well for the moment.
Yeah, the 555 going to position 5, 1.25 seconds away from pole. There's a bit of field spread up top because only Jameson Sampaio and Michael Coates are within 1 second of Joao Hedler's pole time at the moment. Now, it's an opportunity here for drivers to continue to improve their lap times with 4 scored laps available. But how many of them are? Kyle Genski's about to complete another lap. It's functionally a hairpin, that final corner. It's very slow and very tight. And then he points to the left-hand side of the road around the curving front straight past the timing line. I only just noticed the IndyCar branding on the flag stand, so that must have been around about the time that they did this.
Yes, indeed. Laguna Seca, one of the tracks.
Remember for ages, Spa had the Blancpain Endurance Series 2010 branding on the podium.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, but iRacing does update branding and visual identification around the racetrack occasionally. Certainly seen some great redos of tracks like VIR, Watkins Glen, some retextures at Road America. Laguna Seca might be due for something like that at some point. Let's see what Michael Chase will be able to do here. He's only just come out for his first couple of laps, and whether or not he'll be able to overcome Hedler, Sampaio, Coates, Miller for a position in the top 3 remains to be seen. A 136.9 is going to put him solidly in the top 5.
Sonoma's getting reworked before Laguna Seca is #NASCAR bias. Eugenio Pollicci, the Italian, goes to 3rd place. So he's just completed a really strong lap and he's got one more in his back pocket if he can continue to improve. He's just pipped Michael Coates, who drops back into 4th. John Miller goes back to 5th. Kyle Genski's now 7th in the outright. I think Rui Coimbra has just gone to 8th. And then Logan Fry's gone to 7th. So that's a new driver top of open class. Logan Fry's qualifying is done, but he's in the 7th outright.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Wait to see what Geordie Fike will be able to do to improve on his 137.1. He's not being as liberal with the curbs as we've seen the likes of Hedler and Sampaio. Both of our drivers there are done, I believe. Actually, Hedler might be on one final lap, and Fike unable to improve on that particular lap. We're still waiting on times from Michael Folds, Nicholas Shepard, Donnie Moffat, Lincoln Fox, and Ismail Ublal, who has returned for the final round of the championship. Odyssey Adams has just gone up to 6th place, 136.9. Not bad at all. And
Nicholas Shepard goes second. He had a purple final sector, so he's pulled something out of the bag there. He's been a bit late to getting out on track in qualifying, but with his 2nd flying lap and 2 more to go, he's jumped up to 2nd place in the standings. You've also got Michael Folds, Ismail Ublal, and Lincoln Fox that haven't set any times yet. And Shepard's parked it after that lap.
Still a very good lap from Nicholas Shepard. We have, I've certainly seen some great performances from Nicholas in the past, but I think that's one of his best performances yet.
Michael Folds just spun out of his final qualifying lap and has no qualifying time.
Oh dear. That's not the situation you'd want for the driver who's challenging for the championship coming into the final rounds. This is going to be a difficult one for him, but we have to remember, last round at Mosport, he also started from the back of the field, and he was able to win on strategy alone. So we'll see if he can do the same here. He's got twice the race length to do it in.
It's the only drivers without qualifying times are Michael Folds, Ismail Ublal, and Donnie Moffat. Here's Michael Chase, he's 9th on his very, very final lap of qualifying. It's just him, Mark Kruger, Jason Stalker, and Jake DeGrand that look like they have lap times left to go. In fact, Jake DeGrand might not have any left. For Michael Chase, I'm pretty sure this is his very, very last and final opportunity. Last and final boarding call. We're paging Michael Chase.
Yes, let's see if he managed to keep it within the limits of the racetrack there. 136.94 is what he needs to beat, and he misses out on improving by 100th of a second. So Chase will remain in P9 unless Mark Kruger can make an improvement of about, a full second or so. Lincoln Fox has just improved his lap time there, going back up to P4. That pushes Eugenio Pellicci and Michael Coates down to 5th and 6th.
Ray Lombardi all shiny in chrome to complete his very final lap.
Whoa.
Yeah, jump a couple of spots there. Just within 1 second of pole, 0.99 away from pole, he goes to 8th place.
Very nice job there from Ray Lombardi. Mark Kruger practicing pit entry. Jake DeGrand with hand controls at the ready. Seeing if he can improve on 25th place. 139.6 was the time to beat, but it looks like he got an off track on that lap, so it ultimately won't count. We have the final laps in progress for Michael Folds, for Lincoln Fox as well.
I think Fox
Jason
is done.
Stalker. Yeah, looks like Fox is done. Yeah.
I think this is the special Loud Cup Racing Team livery that we didn't get to see at Most Sport. So they've brought it down south. It's gold, it's plaid, it's maple syrup. It's
beautiful.
Yes. Maple leaf.
Well, 139.0 for Jason Stalker, and that lap was a 138.0, so that's going to be a big improvement in lap time. Unfortunately, it's not going to grant him any positions, and it looks like that's going to be qualifying run and done, David. Our championship leader will be starting on pole for the final round of the season.
28 drivers for the season finale of Spec-5 World Tour, and the championship leader is on pole. Nicholas Shepard in second, Jameson Sampaio third, with Lincoln Fox in fourth, Eugenio Pellicci fifth. It's going to be a late night for the Italian with this double-length race. And then Michael Coates is in sixth, John Miller in seventh, Ray Lombardi in eighth, Odyssey Adams there in ninth, and pro drivers locking out the top 10 with Michael Chase in 10th. In 11th is where we find the open class pole sitter Logan Fry just pipping Kyle Genske, two drivers in the hunt for that championship. We'll bring you up to speed with the points shortly. Rui Coimbra 13th, Geordie Fike in 14th with Mike Oswalt 15th, Cameron Coolbeck there in 16th, Peter Rosorkis in 17th, Lee Martin in 18th. Brian Jabalski's going for Mr. Clean of season 17. He starts 19th place with Sean Hayes in 20th. Travis Hewitt is in 21st ahead of Mark Kruger, Frankie Sugamelli, Jason Stalker, Jake DeGrand, Michael Folds, Ismail Ublal and Donnie Moffat. That back three, the only three drivers without qualifying times. So let's look at the championship race, because this is a championship round.
Certainly is. Joao Hedler ahead of Michael Folds by some margin there. It's going to take a miracle for Folds to take the championship from here. Maybe a retirement from Hedler, if that, with Folds starting all the way back in 26th. Michael Chase in third. He's well clear of John Miller, but it's looking close between Coates, Fox, and Adams. Adams will certainly be racing his heart out to try and get that sixth place in the championship. Coimbra, Pellicci, and Oswald rounding out your pro top 10.
Did myself a headache looking at the points spreadsheet yesterday, and for second, I think the fourth worst result that would be dropped if Michael Folds won this race would then improve Folds by about 60 points, and he's So 40, 50 points behind Joao Hedler here. He's 42 points behind Joao Hedler. So then he needs Joao Hedler to not gain more than 10 points, which is Joao Hedler finishing about 15th. So it's basically Hedler outside of the top 15. Michael Folds winning this is what Folds needs to happen. If Hedler finishes in the top 10, he is champion of the pro division of Spec-5 World Tour Season 17. Over in the open points, there's still room to gain many points for our open class drivers. Carl Genski could do it, but Logan Fry has the upper hand at the moment. Sampaio and Polici are off the road on the formation lap.
Oh, that's not good.
What? And Lincoln Fox.
What? How did that happen? That is far from ideal. Probably the first of many times I'm going to be saying that tonight. They will retake their places in the formation, but that is not good. But we better get these points done before any more drama happens.
So Lee Martin, Peter Resorkis, Mark Kruger, Travis Hewitt, Jake DeGrand, Rob Conahan, Frankie Sugamelli, and Daniel Artuso completing the top 10 in the open points. As now Frankie Sugamelli's gone around on the formation lap. Let's get through Mr. Clean. Let's get this race underway. Brian Jabelski, he's got this one head and shoulders clear of Joao Hedler, Mike Oswalt, Lee Martin, Michael Folds twice. I've done something wrong there. John Miller, Peter Resorkis, Sean Hayes, and Geordie Fike. It's not meant to be Michael Folds. It's meant to be Michael Chase, one of them. Anyway, Brian Jabelski, a clean race will give him Mr. Clean. We've had two cars off. Lincoln Fox is off again on the formation lap.
This is a very chaotic formation lap here. Initially, it looks like Sampaio might have had a hardware problem potentially and spun around. That man, he made contact with Fox to bring him around as well, but he's just made it back. Has Sampaio to the front row, making contact with Sugamelli at turn 6 on the way, but we are going to get this race going. Oh dear. Already chaos here in the final round of the season, but the CFPM guys are side by side on the way down to turn 1, and oh goodness, no, it's Shepard trying his best to keep Joao Hedler at bay, but they make contact in turn 1. They were making contact all the way down to the first corner there, and Hedler has spun him around.
As chaotic a race start as I've seen in a long time. Drivers like Sampaio and Lincoln Fox trying to regain their positions on the grid as the field was coming out of the final corner and towards the green flag. And then the pole sitter making contact with second place. Hedler skipped the inside of the first corner, and then a little bit of contact with to back of the field. Nicholas Shepard sent Shepard around. Joao Hedler has no black flags, leads the race. Well, Sampaio's up in a second. Lincoln Fox is up into third. Michael Folds has made 7 positions off the race start, and he's repeating his form for a previous time, but now we've got a drama with 3 cars off.
Goodness me, it's Coates going off, also Miller, Jabelski, Polici has gone off as well. This is crazy. Contact between the 31 and the 7. So that's what sent Polici off, and the aggressor in the incident there. Yeah,
I might be wrong.
Like maybe, yeah. I'm not sure. Oh, goodness me. This first lap has seen more drama than I expected in the first half of this race, and we didn't even get to the start before the drama happened.
No, the formation lap was crazy, and I guess with 90 minutes in this race, at some point we'll get back to look at it. But up front here, you've got many drivers that have gained position. So Joao Hedler leads the race, Jamison Sampaio in second, Lincoln Fox there in third, Kyle Genski is in 4th outright, having gained 8 positions. Many drivers been off the road in front of him, and he's up into 4th after all that's happened. Odyssey Adams, Logan Fry second in the open class at the moment, but Kyle Genski can take the open class championship if he finishes in the outright podium. He's got a bit of damage on the nose that doesn't appear to be slowing him down. I think the aerodynamic effect of bodywork damage is less than it used to be on these cars. The fuel consumption on these cars is better than it used to be. Genski just ran a tiny bit wide there. Maybe he's feeling the pressure. A tiny bit wide again. of running in these heady heights of 4th outright.
Yeah, this is certainly going to be a battle to look at here. Genski versus Adams for overall 4th, making their way through the corkscrew. A path has truly been cleared through that gravel now, but Genski here has lost time to our top 3. Hedler leading by 1.3 seconds over Sampaio, and Lincoln Fox challenging Sampaio for 2nd place, but this is where all the battling really is here for 3rd on back. We see that Sampaio and Fox not separated by all that much, but there's going to be no separation between Genski and Adams here, with a great exit from the final corner for the number 22, the Red Machine, giving chase. How defensive is Kyle Genski going to go here? Not very. The door is open there for Adams, but he cannot make the move.
Quality from Genski rolling around the outside of the Andretti hairpin. A spin around. It's the Loud Cup racing car of Jason Stalker, and he's put it maple syrup first into the tyre barrier, kept the plaid clean. He doesn't seem to have damaged the car too badly, and he'll keep it behind. This is how. It's just in behind this group here. Oh, yeah, middle of the corner, he has a snap.
Tyres still pretty cold at this point, so makes sense that the rear would break free like that. Still, it's not something you want happening in the first few laps of any race, let alone a 90-minute one. So Stalker all the way back to 27th. We've already had a driver come into the pits, Ray Lombardi, and I believe that was for damage repair and maybe just topping the tank up to make sure that he can extend his stint a tiny bit further.
So it's 2.5 laps completed in this race, and from the rear of the grid, 26th position, Michael Folds is now up into 10th. It's a repeat of the performance we saw a week ago at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. You just cannot count him out, and there's still an hour and 25 minutes of racing to go. Michael Folds is now moving up into 10th position, ranging up behind a handful of the open class drivers. He's cleared Peter Resorkis this lap. Now he's getting close to Mike Oswald, who's pro class. And then there's that group being led by Kyle Genski, where he's formed a bit of a train, and they are just in front of where Michael Folds has gotten to. He can see 4th place very, very clearly right now.
He certainly can, and with the pace that Genski and Adams are setting at the front of this pack, I'm sure that Folds is going to waste no time catching up to them. The last lap time for Folds was a 1:35.9, and yeah, it looks to me like he'll be gaining well over half a second on everybody every lap, as long as he can clear the drivers in front of him. His next target is Mike Oswald here in the 1:17. It looks like 9th place maybe Folds on the way into the corkscrew if he can place the car correctly, but this corner can be an overtaking opportunity if you're Alex Zanardi, but looks like Michael Folds is just pulling it back here in the early stages and going for a more obvious opportunity, potentially at the final corner. Offline there, around the outside of the penultimate corner and into the gravel. I haven't seen anyone do that in a while, but Michael Folds will translate that into a move up the inside and get into 9th.
Folds, yes, moves up into 9th. Now 10 seconds behind the race lead. Pace is picking up for the top 2, the teammates from Brazil, Joao Hedler and Jameson Sampaio. They've left Lincoln Fox behind. And there's so many battles all through the field right now. We saw drivers off on the formation lap, off on lap 1. Some of them are coming back through the field. Some drivers didn't qualify where they would have expected. There's so much battling happening all through. Nicholas Shepard ahead of Travis Hewitt, Michael Coates and Sean Hayes behind. It's wide from Hewitt. This is our top 2. Jameson Sampaio, I think, has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. His previous lap was even quicker, but didn't count for the fastest lap of the race. So he's hit a little bit of track limits here and there as he closes in within 1 second of his teammate, hitting a bit of the gravel there. It's all of the track and then some. You've got to use all of the real estate because it's so expensive in California.
Yeah, it certainly is. Every
good thing Brisbane and Perth are so affordable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, a curbstone in California probably goes for maybe just a tiny bit more than 1 dozen Perth. So Sampaio is making the most of it. You pay for the track, you use it. I mean, I don't know if that saying really counts for Laguna Seca. It's part of the iRacing base content, isn't it? So you get it with a subscription anyway, along with many other tracks.
Oh, you mean we're all stuck leasing? Oh, for shame. So closing in here with that slipstream, another 135.9 for Jameson Sampaio. Matches some of the best pace that we've seen from Michael Fold. His fastest lap is a 135.9 as well. With this long of a race, a bit of teamwork could be important. If Sampaio can help Hedler keep his rhythm, keep his pace, save fuel, that's something they'll have in the toolbox against Michael Foles, whose teammate Nicholas Shepard qualified on the front row and then out of it so early. Ismail Ublal's coming back through the field after we saw him off. Looking at what other moves are happening through the pack.
Ublal making it off the last row of the grid as well. Suffering some dramas early on, but looks like the field is so big at this final round that you've got someone to race with no matter where you are. Ublal chasing down Mark Kruger and Geordie Fike up there. Kruger rounding out the top 20, and also an open class driver in the midst of all of this. Ublal having an excellent exit out of turn 6. And with Fike still trying to find a way past, there's potential for a move here for Ismail at the end of the lap. It may be outside the top 20, but they are racing as hard as they would be if it were for a podium.
A bit of brake lights from Fike there as he got in hot, was a little out wide, needed some help to rotate the car. Now he gets a big load of sausage curb there, and that puts him offline. So now he's acting defensively, and Ismail Ublal, it's going to get him as he has a slide on the tight line at the apex. Ublal goes ahead.
Yeah, interesting. Like the rear end wasn't exactly cooperating with Geordie Fike there, and that means Frankie Sugamelli is going to be the next driver to round him up here on the outside on the way into turn 1. You can use that concrete on the way in to widen the entry into the corner. It looks to me like Sugamelli is decided it's best to stay behind for now and try and mount an attack somewhere else.
His cars are looking very pointy with a lot of rotation off throttle in the middle of these corners. It definitely seemed to catch some drivers out on the formation lap, and I'm not sure how easily we can go back to replays on the formation lap, but I'm beginning to think I'd like to see.
Yeah, starting it all, Jameson Sampaio, I took a look when we were getting ready for the race start, and it was a very weird incident for Sampaio. It almost looked characteristic of one of those hardware failures you see where like the brake sticks on or the wheel turns all the way to the right or something to that effect. It certainly wasn't what I would have expected to see from a driver up at the front of the field, but so
this is the formation lap. Sampaio's already dropped Sampaio's in the right spot. It's
have a look at this.
Shepard that's a tiny bit behind. Then
very weird.
Now he rolls backwards into Fox.
Yeah. So that was the first of the many dramas that we saw on that formation lap. I honestly don't know what happened there. It didn't look like a mistake from the way the car moved.
Very odd. Looking at Sampaio again now, where everything seems to be A-OK. He's lapping, lost a couple of tenths on the previous lap, but they're still pulling away from Lincoln Fox in a bit of a no man's land in third place, because in fourth continues to be the Kyle Genske train. I wonder, with this length of a race, if there aren't a few drivers really trying to save here behind Genske. But Odyssey Adams, rolls out of the throttle, coming towards the crest of the hill, thinking if I don't have a big overlap, it's not going to be here into the corkscrew that I make a pass. And Logan Fry is second. and championship leader for open class. So just keeping tabs on what Carl Genski is doing. There go the wipers, probably to wipe off dust and gravel more than any rain. If it rained much here, it would be a different type of Laguna.
Yes, certainly would. I can practically hear you opening up DeepL or Google Translate as we speak.
Michael Folds pits, so he's going for an early first stop. I think we're within the window that he can still make this on a 2-stop strategy. It should be a 2-stop strategy for everyone, and you're looking at sort of 2 long stints and 1 shorter stint. I think Folds is putting the shorter stint earlier here. Let's see how long this stop goes for. It probably needs to be under 20 seconds, and it is at 16. So if this gives Folds a bit of clean air, did you see any tyres happening there?
No.
I think it's going to save maybe some right side tyres for the second stop, which will be longer than this first stop because we've only been going for 8 laps. So there's not going to be room to put a whole lot of fuel in it this first one. And he sets himself up for a long stint now to just make it to the lap where he can pit and make it to the end on another basically full tank of fuel.
Yeah, the problem for Folds is eventually he's going to come up on traffic with the clear pace advantage that he has.
The bet, though, is that in the next 6 laps or so before he catches that traffic, that all of them will have to make their first stop and he'll undercut them. So realistically, where is he there? So the problem's going to be if he catches Ray Lombardi and can't get past Ray Lombardi, because then he's almost 10 seconds behind Jason Stalker, another 5 seconds behind Lee Martin. All of them are going to have to pit, for their first stop in due course as well in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Right. So we keep our eyes on that development around about the 1 hour mark, potentially seeing drivers jump into the pit lane. For the meantime, Genski still holding off this ever-growing pack behind him, but like you mentioned, Adams, Fry, Coimbra, they don't seem in any hurry to pass him.
My reading of the published information is if you were going to make this race a 1-stop, you need to save something like 10 laps of fuel in a 55 lap race.
Yeah, and the fuel number that I saw Lincoln Fox quote in the Discord was about 0.78 liters. So you times that by 10, that's nearly 8 liters of fuel that you have to save, which I think is practically impossible.
Practically impossible, not theoretically impossible.
Yeah, I was very careful with my choice of words there.
Yes. Like how there's different types of infinity, there's different categories of impossible.
Yes. Theoretically, you could do it, but would you get a good result from it? Almost certainly not.
So the pace is dropping away just a little bit. No drivers in the 135s anymore. Michael Folds, we're about to get the first flying lap of him since he pitted. John Miller pits. So we're within the window for that first stop, but with a long race like this, I imagine most drivers will push this first stint long, and then once they've made that first stop, they can sort of reassess. Do they want to take their second stop early in the window or continue to push on late in the window? Cameron Coolbeck, they're leading a little group. John Miller, we can see this go to about 18, 19 seconds. We are.
Slightly longer stop than Folds.
But a slightly later stop. There's slightly more room to put slightly more fuel.
So look for John Miller to potentially go a tiny bit longer in this second stint of the race for him.
Michael Folds is already long gone, so John Miller blends in way behind him. So Folds is undercutting everyone who's about to stop now. That's Cameron Coolbeck under attack. Mike Oswald passes him going up the hill and into the corkscrew. Oh, and barreling through the corkscrew, Michael Coates is going to stay hot on both of them.
This is a good battle here for the last position in the top 10. Got quite a bit of time to make up to Nicholas Shepherd, who has to be said has not had as bad of a race as I thought he would after his contact with Hedler coming into the first braking zone. Shepherd, of course, in 9th, as Michael Chase is going to be the next driver here to jump into the lane early, get some damage repaired on the front, it looks like, and pulling out for the... Oh, I thought that was going to be a move there for Cameron Coolbeck, but it looks like he's decided to just blend back in behind Eugenio Polici there, as the battle is on at the front of this pack. Michael Coates now going to try and widen the line into turn 2 and mount some kind of attack here on Mike Oswald.
Yeah, he certainly looked very quick, did Michael Coates, coming through the corkscrew earlier. So Coolbeck's let him go. Now he's looking at almost a bit of Morse code with Mike Oswald. So he's got a pace advantage and he wants to lead this group. So he's going to give himself a run up the hill. Both of them are just going to rearrange a little bit of the sand and gravel.
Yeah, but just enough that it helps them out without necessarily disadvantaging them. That wasn't a great exit from the corkscrew there for Oswald, and Coates will sail through the downhill left-hander, the track basically from the top of the corkscrew up to the final turn. I remember reading about 8-9 stories worth of elevation change. As into the pits comes Mike Oswald. Very difficult pit entry at this circuit. It's one of the toughest on iRacing, I would imagine. But
it's one of the toughest in the world. I can remember some of the IndyCar drivers spun on the entry one time. Romain Grosjean crashed a Honda Civic pace car doing a promotional thing on Friday here ahead of one of the IndyCar races. It's a challenging pit entry. But Oswald navigated it with aplomb, and now he's getting his pit service. It's a long one, 20 seconds. So again, there's another car that Michael Folds is going to undercut. Folds has gotten towards Ray Lombardi, and this is where this run from Folds could come undone. So if he starts to lose time here, but second fastest car on track last lap was Michael Folds, beaten only by Jameson Sampaio.
Yeah, Sampaio still the one with the quickest one-lap pace out there, but he seems comfortable running behind his teammate Joao Hedler. And this is a perfect situation for CFPM. They're running 1 and 2 with the championship leader in front. And they have a solid gap over Lincoln Fox. He's 5.5 seconds behind Sampaio right now. So things couldn't be going more swimmingly for the two Brazilians.
Cameron Coolbeck pits. So we're getting more drivers from their pitting from their first stint. Travis Hewitt as well. So then you see Sean Hayes on track carry on by them, just behind Peter Rosorkis. This is the next gaggle of cars.
So Coolbeck and Hewitt both coming into the pits this time around. And it looks like
a problem for Nicholas
Shepherd. Yeah, Nicholas Shepherd's in there as well, but he didn't enter pit lane. He escaped in, I believe. What went on for him here at turn 1? Tips it in. And okay, well, we'll see what happened to him here, I believe. He's just pulled over. He's just parked it. Well, that's a shame for Nicholas Shepherd. Could have still recovered something from this race, but I imagine the frustrations may have gotten to him of what happened on the way down to the first braking zone at the start of the race.
It's changed for 4th position. Perhaps finally, Odyssey Adams leads this group. Kyle Genske going back into 5th and faking the pit entry, I reckon, with Logan Fry just behind him. This is the open class battle, Genske versus Fry in the championship, but also for the win in the open class today, for a race win. And there's no cars in between them any longer. Genske falling back into the pack, and Logan Fry maybe sensing an opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see. Have a look at that. The gap that Adams has already gotten over him. You could tell that Odyssey was holding back behind Logan Fry there. Definitely a lot more pace in that 22 than we saw in these opening laps. Question is, when are all of these guys going to jump into the pits? Because it's all well and good to be sort of out of position like Michael Folds is and be able to basically do whatever strategy you like, but if you're around these guys, you're fighting for position, and they're close to you on pace, then that locks you in a little bit.
Ray Lombardi let Michael Folds go, and Michael Folds has got clean air again. He's currently 44 seconds behind the race lead, having made one of his 2 pit stops, and the race leader hasn't made any yet. So Folds has got more race pace than Joao Hedler. He's given himself an opportunity to show it with this strategy. Last lap for Hedler, 136.7. Last lap for Folds, 136.9. He's giving it all. We're going to get a couple more pit stoppers this lap around as well, because teammates Odyssey Adams and Rui Coimbra are in.
Yeah, okay. So planning to run together here. They'll give way to Polici and Coates out on the racetrack. Let's see if there's any kind of difference in pit stop time between these two, or if they'll be electing to run the same strat. They're taking tyres here at the first stop, and it makes sense. They waited until about 25 minutes into the race to get it done, but Coimbra is going for left side tyres as well. Interesting, and it ultimately results in a slightly quicker run out of the lane for him. Coimbra will emerge ahead of Adams as Michael Chase slips on by.
Yeah, so they've gone 4 tyres at their first stop. Michael Folds is ahead of them. So is Michael Chase. Folds by a lot, actually, on these guys. So, sure, Folds had a shortish first stop, but he has undercut absolutely everyone at this point, and a few of them are beginning to pit and clear the traffic, clear the way in front of him. Folds is about to catch up onto the back of Mark Kruger, Lee Martin, Jason Stalker. That could be a problem for Michael Folds right now. Jason Stalker is, I think, going to let him go, so he's encountered less resistance than I might have thought on this strategy, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought the same. You know, I thought, oh, when he catches up to the traffic, he's going to start losing bulk time. He won't be able to take advantage of, you know, the undercut that he would presumably have gotten. But yeah, it seems like he's carving his way through without much drama. But I won't speak too soon. That's another driver that has just let Michael Folds go there.
I think someone might have got a slowdown cutting the second part of the corkscrew, and it might have been Lee Martin. Someone definitely kicked up a lot of dust, and there is a limit at the corkscrew because the slowdown is pretty fierce there.
Yeah, I've just rewound and had a look, and well, actually, it looks like Martin didn't get any kind of slowdown. The one who actually kicked up the dust was Mark Kruger, who's still at the head of this pack, but leaves the door open for Michael Folds on the inside of the Andretti hairpin, and through Folds will go. And this has been a great run through the traffic for Folds here, and I think, considering his circumstances, things are going quite well.
He's just passed 3 cars, and he's only lost half a second to Joao Hedler. So he's gone from 44 seconds behind the race lead to 44.5. Now he gets a little bit of clean air again until the next cars are Frankie Sugamelli, Brian Jabalski, and Donnie Moffat. But that's all cars that haven't pitted yet, have now run 16 laps. Now, I think we got an estimate that the fuel tank range was about 21 or 22 laps.
Yeah, roundabout. I think if the 0.78 litres per lap figure quoted in the Discord is accurate from Lincoln Fox. Remember, we do have a fuel tank restriction on these cars as well. Ooh, that's some technical issues for Frankie Sugamelli up ahead of Michael Folds. Worth pointing out, actually. Yes, we are still surprised that Folds has managed to hold on in the midst of all of this and carve his way through the traffic, but it's worth pointing out the pace difference. He's been setting 1 minute 36s in the middle of a field that's been doing anywhere from high 1 minute 37s to low 1 minute 39s. So Folds has a clear pace advantage over everyone else in this area of the field right now.
He had pace to burn at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and that has even less turns, less corners per lap than here.
Disaster for Lincoln Fox. He was running in third, but it looks like he's had a computer issue and has dropped from the server. So that is horrendous luck there for the number 43, who was practically guaranteed a podium at this point.
Carl Genske moves into the third position with Logan Fry going into fourth. There could be big points on offer today and a big swing in the Open Class Championship. Genske rearranges the gravel tastefully, but still has Logan Fry breathing straight down his neck. These guys for the third and fourth outright at the moment. Now, there's a chance that Rui Coimbra and Odyssey Adams are pretty significantly undercutting these two drivers at the moment. We're about to cross 1/3 of the race complete, 30 minutes of racing done and an hour still to go. This is Coimbra and Adams together. Jason Stalker pits.
Yeah, so now we're down to, I think, just under half the field having come into the lane there. A blink there for Stalker. Has he escaped? Yeah, he's disconnected. He's just, that's another driver that's just parked it.
Wow. We'll see how many are left at the end of 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Right. So both Jason Stalker and Nicholas Shepherd retiring from the race, it seems, of their own accord. And
Lincoln Fox has reconnected. Jake DeGrand dropped out and has reconnected. So we're going to get Lincoln Fox back in the race now. Fox is almost still on the lead lap. Oddly, about to lose that just here, as you can see Joel Hedler, race leader, and Jameson Sampaio go by. Or do they? Look how difficult cold tires are. Nearly spinning out at, it's not quite walking pace, but at that pace coming through the pit exit.
I mean, it's basically walking pace for a race car, isn't it? Well, Fox will come back out behind our race leader and championship leader, and you'd almost think if you just come in and we're looking at this now, you'd think, oh wow, yeah, Lincoln's doing quite well at the moment, but that is not the case. He has fallen down a lap over our race leaders, and he has to let Sampaio go as well because the tires just aren't up to scratch yet.
Big run on pit lane right now. Michael Coates, Geordie Fike, Brian Jabelski from the lead of Mr. Clean, whatever. Frankie Sugamelli, 20th as well. So if you see left-hand side tyres happening, that would be the end of a 4-tyre change sequence. Jabelski gets going. Fike just waiting on fuel, which means that the tyres have been covered in time. So at this point, yeah, I don't know how you'd formulate this, but 90 minutes being a long race, I wouldn't want to take right side tyres twice, and do the whole race on one set of left-hand side tyres, but 3 sets of right-hand side tyres. So go 4 tyres now and then go 2 tyres at your final stop. I'd feel comfortable with that.
I would too, because you gotta remember that the characteristics of the circuit need to be taken into account as well. Laguna Seca is an anti-clockwise course. and most of the corners are right-handers. There's only really left-handers, sorry. There are only 3 significant right-handers on this layout, and Logan Fry and Kyle Genske leading the open class here and fighting for the overall podium. About to go through one of them. This turns 3 and 4, the first of them, and then there's, I guess, the exit of the corkscrew you can count, but it's not as important, and then the penultimate corner of the lap as well. So the left side tyres are still put through quite a bit here. Not as much as the rights would, but it's still worth changing the lefts at some point.
What's going on for Michael Coates? Has he crashed on cold tyres?
That is the question. The 213.
Maybe.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, God. Yeah. Nothing left of the front end of that car. So how on earth did that happen to him?
It was on his outlap after his pit stop.
Yeah, it looks to me like coming into turn 5 here, he just caught the gravel on the inside of the corner, and that unsettled the car enough. He overcorrected and went spearing into the wall there. The gravel barely slowed him down at all.
Well, the brake lights weren't on either. So perhaps some compounding issues for Michael Coates, who's now out of this race. 9 drivers that haven't stopped: Joao Hedler, Jameson Sampaio, Kyle Genske, and Logan Fry right here. Eugenio Pollicci, Ismail Ublal, jeez, it's not a tongue twister. Sean Hayes, Peter Rasorkis, and Donnie Moffat. Peter Rasorkis pits right now. Ismail Ublal. Unique New York.
Yes, indeed. And in comes Rasorkis, and been a variance of pit stop times here, ranging from just 8.6 seconds for Ray Lombardi at the start of the race to all the way out to about 28 seconds for Frankie Sugamelli, which I believe had damage repair involved as well. Rasorkis going for left side tires there. Did you see the rights going on as well? Yep. So that's all 4 tires being changed here for the first pit stop for Peter. And out he will come.
Got both types of ambulance back there in the pit lane. You've got a 4D series cutaway, and you've got a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, I think. Well, maybe it's a Freightliner or whatever the hell they call them in North America, but it's a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. So we're seeing these drivers go really long now, can take a lot of fuel, and it absolutely covers a 4 tyre change, but it means that their second pit stop will probably be too short. Well, will definitely be too short for a 4 tyre change next time around, and perhaps even too short for a 2 tyre change if you take a really big drop of fuel now and then have a short second stop. Kyle Genske comes in, Logan Fry stays out, Eugenio Pollicci stays out. Genske qualified 12th or so, he's going to be looking for his pit crew about halfway down the lane here, past the ambulances.
Yeah, pulling in, right side tyres going on, no surprise there. We'll see if the left side comes on as well. And it certainly will. So it looks like that's the prime strategy here. Take all 4 tyres at the first stop and then maybe just go right sides on your second one. Allow those left side tyres to absorb the comparatively less pain they have to endure over the course of this race. Genske coming out around about 15th place, and he'll have a long gap back to the teammates of Adams and Coimbra there. But remember, Genske is really racing Logan Fry for the time being. And it looks like our leaders are going to be coming in as well. The CFPM teammates of Hedler and Sampaio into the pits.
Yep, 100% of CFPM Racing are pitting in. Logan Fry in third, still quite a bit behind these drivers. And they'll know that they'll be driving all the way to the pit exit end here to get to their pit crew. Hedler and Sampaio. Fry going to stay out. Pollicci going to pit in. It's just Ublal and Hayes and Donnie Moffat left. Now, Pollicci and Moffat being on the same team might see them both pit at the same time if they're both looked at the same numbers and crunched the same stuff on that.
I can see that they're both going for all 4 tires as well. Looks like pit stop completed, or tire stop completed a little quicker there for Sampaio. But fuel, another question. They both come out at the same time, and it looks like Sampaio had a slightly better run out of the box.
Massive fuel take on from both of them.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yes,
33 seconds.
Stop.
That confirms the number I'm seeing.
Very long.
Michael Folds is ahead of them on the road, and like it's not close either. And then you're going to see those guys tippy-toe around a little bit on their cold tires here. The difference is about 16 seconds of fuel. So Folds, it's only taken 16 seconds of fuel. Hedler and Sampaio have taken 32 to 33 seconds of fuel and are only 4 seconds behind Folds on the road. In this stint right here, Folds needs to be leaving them in his dust if he's going to be aiming for the race win from as deep on the grid as he started.
Yeah, well, I suppose the advantage that Folds has is he's got tyres that are up to temperature. These two do not, and they also have heavier cars than he does. So that begs the question, does Folds have enough left in his tyres to take advantage of his lighter fuel load? We'll find out in a couple of laps when the first real lap times come in here from Hedler and Sampaio.
Yeah, it looks like Sampaio got about half a second closer to Hedler as well through that. There's been... Jordy Fikes helped Sean Hayes into the wall just now as Logan Fry, Ismail Ublal, the last drivers left to pit. They have completed 24 laps. So that seems to be the fuel range. Oh, and now off the road a bit for Kyle Genske.
Yeah, Sean Hayes has gotten a mechanical black flag as well. There's significant damage to the front of the number 94. Jordy Fike helping him into the wall as you described. And, well, that's far from ideal for the number 94 machine. And it looks like he might be hard-pressed to even get it back to pit lane.
He's trying, but the suspension is cactus. He's missing several body panels. So here we go. Right-hander. Bounce off the curb for Fike. And he's carrying more speed, and he just gets a little bit of the rear bumper of Sean Hayes, and that's why they put tyre bundles on the inside, not just the outside there, because Sean Hayes has done a whole heap of damage and needed to tow. We were keeping our eyes on the battle for the Open Class win, and Kyle Genske is significantly ahead of Logan Fry, who's had a really, really long stop at 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, and now he's having trouble on that outlap.
Yeah, those tyres are not up to temp there for Logan, our Open Class Championship leader. And we'll see what he can do to keep that pace up. Yeah, incredibly long pit stop there. I didn't see a black flag to his name. So there's been no pit-in penalty for him. So hopefully he'll be able to get whatever issues he has on that car sorted, and he can get on the attack again right now. Up behind Brian Jabelski. Got Ismail Ublal just behind him as well. Wide turn in for the corkscrew. Struggling to keep that car straight going through the dip.
Yeah, still looks like a massive handful for Logan Fry. Does it help that it looks like his teammate behind?
Looks like maybe a switch between the two of them. And Ublal, of course, pitting a few laps earlier. Actually, no, they pitted at the same. They're on the same strategy. Maybe Ublal has given himself a little more in terms of tyre usage. We'll have to wait and see on that.
So it's approaching the halfway point of the race. Everyone has made one stop. Still too early to have made two stops. And this is more progress from Ublal, past Brian Jabelski. Logan Fry goes by as well. So what's the pace like? Michael Folds last lap 136.8. Joao Hedler 136 flat. Jameson Sampaio 136 flat. So now it's Hedler and Sampaio with heaps of speed.
Ray Lombardi pitting again. This is quite the early second stop for him. He's
well, he had damage on lap 2, which was too early to stop and make it the whole way. So
I forgot about that.
Ka-chow.
Yeah. So basically, he's already at a disadvantage. He will have to pit once more in this race. Well, I've been keeping my eye on the laps for the leaders here, and it does look like Hedler and Sampaio are getting some pace back now that their tyres have warmed up. They are chasing down Michael Folds 8/10 of a second faster than him on the previous lap. So we'll see how this one turns out, but for the moment, it looks like CFPM have gotten their cars back up to speed in a big way.
I just realised exactly how dark this could get by the end.
Yeah.
45 minutes still to go. Could be very interesting. So another lap time from Michael Folds is a 137 flat. It's a 136.5 from Joao Hedler. So 0.5 of a second again taken out of the race leaders. The time in session is 7:24 p.m. and only getting darker from here. You saw at points the sun almost creeping behind a couple of those hills around this area.
Makes me wonder if we're going to see the headlights turn on before the end of the race. I think we might.
You think we might see the Joao headlights?
Oh, God, there we go. I walked right into that one.
I feel a little unclean, actually, at the moment.
You feeling unclean from one of your own puns?
Yeah.
Perish the thought.
Yeah. So, in the open class battle, Kyle Genske versus Logan Fry, they're separated on strategy at the moment, but I think Logan Fry could still be in this. Fry's stop was 13 seconds longer. No, more. 17 seconds longer. So if Fry has a 17-second shorter final stop, then you've got to get yourself to within 17 seconds of where Kyle Genske is. And at the moment, the gap between them is more like 20. So I think this works out well for Kyle Genske at the moment. I think Genske might have had a better outlap as well. We saw it took Logan Fry just a little bit to get into his rhythm. They passed Jabelski, and then he had to let Ublal go. So I think Logan Fry's first 2 laps after the pit stop didn't quite work out well. And like you said, be very heavy right now. And I think he's not even going to have enough fuel drop to take at the second stop to take 2 tires then.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like his last stop might only be 7 or 8 seconds.
So either way, he's likely going to lose out. So yeah, that's not what you want to hear if you're a driver in the middle of this.
Now I've got to look at 2 sections of the points spreadsheet to try to work this one out. The gap between Fry and Genske was less than between Hedler and Folds. The problem with this 13 races and you drop your 3 worst results is now I've got to look at, wait, what's your 4th worst result that today's results would improve upon?
A little bit of mental maths required, I suppose, from you, David.
Could be spreadsheet maths if I was smarter.
Well, Google exists. That's where I look up spreadsheet formulas. You don't need a formula to work out that Hedler and Sampaio are catching up to Folds. And
has just touched with John Miller, I think it was. I'm getting a lot of these liveries wrong from the box 5 guys, but I'm pretty sure that's Miller. So a bit of a touch at the top of the corkscrew.
Yeah, looks to me like it was Polici trying to attempt a pass on Miller and actually cut across him on the way in. Have a look at this. So you need to move across the racetrack to get on the racing line into the corkscrew. Polici veers to the right there, and well, yeah, if anything, that would be on Polici. John Miller didn't do anything wrong there. His car was, I mean, he couldn't make his car invisible. That's what's resulted in Polici falling back behind him.
He thinks he's Alessandro Zanardi. Zanardi's from a bit further north in Italy than Monza even.
It's that mountain air that gave him the courage to go for that move at the corkscrew.
That was before he got fired by Williams, wasn't it?
Yes. I believe so.
I think he had 2 champ car titles, went to F1. It didn't work out for a handful of reasons that he's explained on multiple podcasts, and then went back to other racing. Here we are side by side heading up the hill again, and who's learnt their lesson this time? Is it Polici that's learnt his lesson, or is it Miller who's learnt a lesson? I think both of them have made some notes from last time and studied up, and Polici goes past.
Yep, nice move.
For the race lead here, Joao Hedler, this is how much more pace he's got. He's reeling in Michael Folds, who also has a significant pit stop deficit to pay later on.
Yeah, and as this goes on, you more and more think that the championship will truly slip out of Folds' hands at this point, because remember, we talked about those calculations earlier that Folds would have to win and Hedler would have to finish outside the top 15 for Folds to take the championship. As things stand, it doesn't look like Folds is going to get near Hedler when we complete that final lap. There's going to be a lot of difference between these two when the next pit cycle is complete.
And I have looked at that spreadsheet for the open class as things are a bit hot for the race lead here. Logan Fry's missed 2 races, while Carl Genski's only missed 1. So Fry's points calculation that has him ahead already includes some pretty significant drops if they finished level here. Basically, Fry, I'm pretty sure, has got this at the moment. Oh, this is for the race lead. Folds is taking him all the way over toward the pit wall, but leaving a Mazda width against the pit wall as they go past the starter's stand underneath the gantry and over the crest of the hill. They're almost going to rub doors, but Joao Hedler is looking like he's going to go into the lead of the race ahead of Michael Folds. Jenson Sampaio just in third for the moment as Hedler goes to the race lead.
And not quite Schumacher versus Barrichello at Hungary 2010, but Folds making it as difficult for Hedler as he could to get past. And now Hedler has been unleashed again. It's going to be up to Jameson Sampaio to find a way past Michael Folds here. Got some momentum coming down to turn 5, but not going to take the move up the inside. Going to be waiting for, I think, a clearer opportunity.
A little wide through there, and the horsepower that these cars have got, all your momentum you carry up the hill is critical because your speed is almost stationary. The hill and your throttle almost equal each other out there. The speed that you've got off the previous corner at the bottom of the hill is the speed you go up the hill at the whole way. Some sort of crest and then brake and turn into the corkscrew.
And it's one of the great ironies of this racetrack is that, you know, it's so important to... Oh, there we go. Folds going in for his second pit stop. So we'll see how much time he spends in the lane in the box this time. Yeah, turn 6 is one of the most frustrating turns on the track from my experience, because yeah, you do have to get the exit perfect and the line through the corner perfect in order to carry that speed up the hill, but it's so hard to hit the right line through there without clobbering the inside curb, without running wide on the exit, or any number of things. And if you've got a car in front of you, like Sampaio did with Folds there, it just becomes even more difficult. Fortunately, Folds going for the 4-tyre strategy here, and that means that he'll certainly be nowhere near in touch with Hedler and Sampaio here. Pit stop is complete for him, and the debt is paid. That's a 33.6 second stop, and that's even longer than that first pit stop we saw from the CFPM guys.
Yeah, he Folds would have basically run the tank completely empty there, and now needs to completely fill it to get to the end with 24 laps still to go. So that was basically the longest a stop could possibly go, is about 34 seconds, which is why I'm thinking, where did this 45-second stop come from for Logan Fry?
Yeah, I'm still perplexed about that, because it doesn't make sense. Maybe he took some optional repairs in the midst of that pit stop, but we didn't really see any damage on Logan Fry's car. And there is a fast repair available, is there not?
Yeah, should be. Maybe you want to save it, but I believe there's one. Yep, yeah. Fast repair limit is 1.
So that's the only thing I can think of for Logan Fry, is that he decided to save his fast repair, had some damage on the car, and elected to get it repaired. Coimbra coming in for his second pit stop, and this time he and Adams are splitting the strategy on the second stop.
Yeah, well and truly within the window to stop here and get all the way to the end. So we're starting to see some drivers try to cover that off, and if you have the opportunity to change 2 or 4 tyres, you get them on and you try to get a bit of an undercut now, rather than leaving that to just, 8 laps to go, which I think is the latest anyone could conceivably get to. Lincoln Fox is also going to stop as well. So a whole heap of our second pit callers running through the lane right now. Again, thinking about the open class battle, the biggest points haul that any open class driver has had was round 10 at Mugello, when Logan Fry finished on the outright podium. Kyle Genske could finish on the outright podium today, and that would net him about 90 points. And he would be dropping a result of about 40 points. So I think the biggest swing that Kyle Genske could make, with 3 drop rounds already counted, is to add about 50 points to his tally. So he needs then Logan Fry to add no more than about 20 points to his tally to be able to overtake him. Gets complicated once all the drop rounds are already in play.
Yeah. Gotta love drop rounds. I mean, I do enjoy drop rounds in principle, and I can certainly count myself as having benefited from them on more than one occasion in my league racing exploits, but you try and work them out on the fly when you're calling the final round of a championship, it does become quite difficult. Battle between Oswalt and Cameron Kuhlbeck. Both of these guys have already pitted once, and they had pretty similar pit stop times, only pitting a lap apart as well. So it's going to be a question of pace between these two. They seem pretty equal on that as well. Kuhlbeck has the faster overall personal best of the race by about 0.2 of a second, but Mike Oswalt in the short term right now has been faster over a lap by about 0.1 of a second. So still got plenty to work out from these two. In comes Ray Lombardi for what will be his final pit stop, only 12.2 seconds, but it's looking like a top 15 might be slightly out of reach for him, depending on how things go. Certainly a top 10 out out of reach. Now CFPM guys up the front of the field continuing to strut their stuff out here. And they'll be getting to the point where they might want to take their final pit stop as well. The question on my mind is how long are they going to wait to take that final stop? Because they have the fuel to make it basically a full stint from here. Do they take all of that?
Yeah, they could stop any time they want, but they could also go another 12 laps from here because they brimmed their tanks. So their strategy window remains wide open.
I think if I was either of these guys, I would be focusing on having as light a car as possible on average, because yeah, you could pit as early as you can and just go to the end. The pit stop time is going to be the same no matter what you do. The issue that you run into is if you've basically completed whatever laps you need to make it to the end and fill up from there, you basically got a full tank again, and that means that your car is going to be heavier. If you wait and run the tank out and then fill up enough to get to the end, then you're going to have a lighter car.
Highest running driver that's made 2 stops is Michael Folds, but he's more than 50 seconds behind Joao Hedler, who we know is headed for a short final stop. Adams is about to make his second stop, and he and Rui Coimbra kind of still battling for that outright podium with Kyle Genske in a way. Coimbra having made the second stop, Genske still needing to make one. Coolback also in for the second stop.
Yeah, in he comes.
Gets that damage fixed, so he's saved a fast repair for the very final one. And when it's a rush on pit entry as well for 3 other drivers coming in. Jake de Grand leading Travis Hewitt and Peter Rosorkis into the lane. Plenty of tyre change going on for Coolback there.
It looks like Rosorkis overshooting his box there. Oh, that's going to add a couple of seconds to the pit stop time that he did not need. Away goes Coolback, but Rosorkis will be stuck in there a little bit longer than he'd like.
Because he's in a tight battle with Travis Hewitt, who's just behind him on the pit lane there as well, and they came into pit lane together for their final stop. So the race off the lane here is their race into the race. He's still in reverse gear when he goes to go. So he's overshot forward, he's overshot backwards, and he's shot himself in the foot while he's at it too, because he loses a spot in pit lane to Travis Hewitt. Do you know, the amount of times I've seen drivers overshoot their box forward, okay, but then to get dropped off the jacks, floor it, and realize you're still in reverse gear?
Yeah, I can't say that I've personally made that mistake before, but I can understand in the heat of the moment having that happen. That's got to be frustrating for Rosorkis, because that's basically cost him something like 5 seconds overall. Very simple error to make, and it's basically destroyed the battle you would have been having.
Certainly given big advantage Travis Hewitt. 2 drivers here that haven't made their second stops yet. Both of them ran 19 laps in the first stint and now 18 laps in this middle phase of the race with 17 to go. We might see him. Zabelski ran a little hot in there behind Geordie Fike to the Andretti hairpin. You know, a week ago we had the Andretti straight. Now we've got the Andretti hairpin. Where's got something named after Andretti that we can go next season?
That is the question. The Andretti S's would surely be somewhere. I might do a little bit of Googling. We'll see what we can do.
And then do a super serious track guide of what it would look like if you stuck all those pieces together as one racetrack. The Andretti
Raceway. The Andretti Drome. I like that one. Oh, that's good.
What would it be? The Mario and Marco and all of the other Andretti's Raceway. Like, there's a couple of racetracks that are named after more than one person. Like, there's the one that's named after Pache brothers. There's at least one racetrack that's named after brothers.
That would be Mexico City. Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. The Rodriguez brothers.
There we go. Brian Jabalski pits in.
So there we go. I'm almost there on the Andretti. Here we go. So, apparently the final corner of the Circuit of the Americas is called the Andretti. And that's about it from what I can find.
Yeah, the problem is we're going to need, like, an Andretti pit straight and then at least another Andretti straight to link up all of our Andretti corners. Otherwise, we're just going to be making, you know, a circle. But ideas. We're ideas people here.
Indeed we are. Don't count on us to get the bulldozers out and start building, though.
The Andretti Paddock and the Andretti Media Center and the Andretti Medical Center and Andretti Medical Helicopter.
Andretti Petting Zoo in the paddock.
Andretti Arboretum and Visitors Center. That's good. That's good. It could work. So Michael Folds still Michael Folds is still the highest running driver that's made 2 stops, ahead of Rui Coimbra, Odyssey Adams, and Michael Chase. Still needing that second stop from Kyle Genske to know where he feeds in. Kyle Genski's still a factor in this. If Genske can get on the podium and that long first stop from Fry costs him, it could get super, super close. Here's Genske just trying to fend off Pollicci at the moment. Now, these guys are on the same strategy. Policci's coming back through the field. Pollicci could still be on for a podium as well. Pollicci had a significantly longer first stop too. I reckon Policci's definitely going to jump Genske here.
Yeah, he did actually.
Not what Genske needs.
No. Yeah, this is a very interesting turn of events that we've seen happen. Because yeah, Pollicci and Ublal as well took the very long first stop, much like our teammates in the lead decided to do. So we're going to be seeing that strategy work out for quite a few people here. Take the pain early and have it pay off for you at the end, as through the Andretti hairpin, looks like there was Jake DeGrand having a little trip through the sand pit. Into the pits comes Geordie Fike for his second stop, but he's followed in. Well, no, actually, he's not. Timing screen lit up for the wrong reason just there, but Fike's first stop was about 25 seconds. Should be expecting around about the same from here on this stop. He seems that he's one of the drivers who's decided to go for that more sort of even fill kind of strategy.
Can I interest you in a pasta restaurant? The Andretti Spaghetti?
Ah, there we go. It was right under our noses the whole time.
Here's a bit of pressure on Genske, and even if he doesn't fold now when they make their second pit stops, I think Genske will probably get folded that way by Pollicci. Having taken 28 seconds of fuel, I reckon Genske can probably run about 20 laps in this mid-stint, which is going to see him have about 2 more laps before he needs to pit, unless he pits earlier, which is right now.
Jake DeGrand has had
Logan
a crash.
Fry okay?
Logan Fry, I'm not too sure on, but Jake DeGrand has definitely had a problem through the corkscrew. It's been a very tough lap for DeGrand here, and it just looks like losing it on the way out of the corkscrew. Not in his best interests. Narrow on the way in, through the dip, and just catching the gravel on the way out when the car is fully loaded up and spinning into the gravel. Fortunately, seems to have kept it out of the wall. But Genski's pit stop finally complete. It looks like Michael Chase is going to overtake him. He should be able to stay ahead of John Miller and maintain a position in the top 10. Meanwhile, in comes Sugameli and Moffat.
And the race leaders,
them in the lane.
Charles Hedler and Jameson Sampaio. Final stop for them. So, based on our numbers, they've called this a little bit early, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they have. But they obviously have a better idea of what their strategy is going to be than we do. So we'll see if this works out for them.
Right side tyres.
Yep.
For Charles Hedler and Jameson Sampaio.
I wouldn't expect lefts to go on, and they certainly haven't. Hedler.
No, I think that final stop time there was limited by the 2 tyre change, because they wouldn't have needed. Yeah. They only needed to have taken about 8 laps worth of fuel. I think both of them, they dropped down from the jacks, the tyre change was done, and they pulled away. So they've gone, oh, let's just have a slightly longer stop, but let's get those fresh right side tyres on for this final run. Michael Folds, we know, has already made his second and final stop, and he's a near 15 seconds behind these guys. That's the advantage they've got. That, yeah, you would take that. Here he is.
Yeah, Folds still having to find his way past a few drivers to even get in touch with Hedler and Sampaio. Looks like he's got about half a second to Logan Fry, and then another second or so to Ismail Ublal up ahead there. And we got to remember that both Fry and Ublal have yet to take their second and final stop. We're still waiting on the final stop from Pulici as well. So Michael Folds may very well come through to the podium from this. In fact, looking at the gaps, almost a certainty, but it's not going to be enough to get in touch with Hedler and Sampaio.
Coolbeck, Lombardi, Fox, Oswald here. I think it was Oswald that actually let all these guys through when he cut the corkscrew and had a slowdown penalty just 1 or 2 laps ago. So it's in the presence of some pretty feisty races in Ray Lombardi and Lincoln Fox, and just cracked a tiny bit under that pressure. Now Ray Lombardi runs a tiny bit wide. Fox will have some overlap heading towards this corner where you think the inside would have to yield, but no.
Oh, God.
Now the outside has to yield. Ray Lombardi out through the gravel as Lincoln Fox went for an airborne ride over the sausage curb.
Goodness me. It's always a tough ask to get a pass done at that particular corner. You know, you go side by side through there, one of you is going to be going off.
So Fry's second stop. Kyle Genski is closing in on him. Fry's now driving out the pit exit. Here's Kyle Genski at speed into the lead of open class. Genski needs 3, 4, perhaps 5 cars between himself and Fry if he's going to create enough of a point swing to take this championship.
And that's looking very tough for the time being. He does have those fresher right side tires on the car, but I think pace-wise, it's going to be tough for him to catch up to Michael Chase and Odyssey Adams. There's massive gaps between those drivers as things stand.
Outlaps have been fun for everyone. There's a lot of teammates together on the track at the moment. So it's box 5 teammates together with Ublal and Fry. CFPM teammates Hedler and Sampaio lead the way, and teammates Rui Coimbra and Odyssey Adams running together here have comprehensively left Kyle Genske and Logan Fry behind. Still might pick up another spot from when Eugenio Polici pits. That could be close though, with the kind of pace Polici has had. Now unleashed from behind Kyle Genske and with a pretty short final stop coming up.
Yeah, been quite a stint from Polici. 21 laps completed.
Jeez, do you know what time it is in Italy?
I can't imagine it's very good.
I think this race started at 3:30 a.m.
Oh, that sounds like me when I race in Euro leagues. So I could definitely empathize with Eugenio there.
There's the sun just on the horizon, the front straight, and the headlights come on for everyone right now in the final 16 minutes with 11 laps to go. Only one driver still needs to make a pit stop, and it's Eugenio Polici coming in to put Lee Martin a lap down here. How many cars are still on the lead lap? Leader's doing 136s. It would be Donnie Moffat in 20th, the last driver on the lead lap. Lee Martin, the first driver off the lead lap there, is obviously just behind Hedler and Sampaio if he's in front of Polici.
Yep. You see that Hedler and Sampaio are up there about 4 seconds ahead of Polici. There they are in the foreground. I would expect that Polici will be coming in, if not this lap, in the next couple of laps, because as I mentioned, he's been out there a while. It's been quite the mammoth stint for Polici, and I have to say, considering his pace versus his fastest lap of the race, he's been handling it quite well. His fastest time being a 136.5, and his last lap was a 37.0. So Polici is driving well within his capabilities here, and it's paid off for him with a potential good result on the cards. See if he can fend off Coimbra, and Adams potentially will fall behind him here. Oh,
is it going to be De Grand again? I think it's a lap down car out there because it's not the
Jake.
leaders.
It is Jake, unfortunately, having another problem coming down the hill, and he's waited for the other competitors to find their way out or in past him, so he can rejoin safely. Polici into the lane for the second time, and this is going to be an incredibly short stop. Only needs about 8 laps, if that, of fuel, maybe less.
Michael Folds will go into third place, which will be a good result from where he started, but not enough to put any pressure on Joao Hedler's championship charge in season 17 of Spec-5 World Tour.
Oh, the leaders just had to take avoiding action for Travis Hewitt. Travis went for a spin in turn 3, and that was almost disaster for them. So 7:02 of Travis Hewitt here makes his way all right through the Andretti hairpin to start off the lap, but apparently some problems with the rear end for the open class driver. He just ran over the gravel on the way in and lost the rear, and so he comes to a stop, but it's just in time for the leaders to come through. You watch them zip in like this. There goes not our leaders, but there's our 2 CFPM drivers.
Donnie Moffat was the first one to go past there. And
so,
then the leaders.
Not out of the woods yet. Hedler and Sampaio. All it takes is one mistake from another driver, and they could be in trouble of giving Michael Folds the victory. It's never over until the checkered flag flies.
Eugenio Polici got back out on track behind Adams and Coimbra, but ahead of Michael Chase, Kyle Genske, Ismail Ublal, and Logan Fry. So I reckon Polici could be exciting in these final couple of minutes here, but so too could Ismail Ublal trying to get past Kyle Genski. Would take some points off Kyle Genski. And, oh gee, it's definitely going to slow down Kyle Genski, that's for sure, who's now run a little bit wide as Ublal was looking in some odd and unconventional places. Genski still has the inside into the final corner. Ublal tries to go over under, and I reckon we'll have him cooked for dinner on this one.
Out into...
Speaking of cooked for dinner, I've got lasagna.
Ooh, very nice. I have no idea what I'm going to be having for dinner tonight. I'll work that out and cross that bridge when I get to it. Fighting still going on here with Lincoln Fox, Cameron Kuhlbeck, and Ray Lombardi. This is the fight for 12th. And don't forget, Lincoln Fox, we saw him, unfortunately, have a computer issue and disconnect from the server some time ago. One of the greatest miracles I've ever seen. The fact that he was able to get out there and continue out without losing more than a lap over the leaders at a track like Laguna Seca. Travis Hewitt, meanwhile, comes into the pit lane. And looks like there's a black flag to his name, unfortunately. I think he might have exceeded the incident limit. Replay here of Ismail Ublal. And the 555 of Kyle Genski. See what happened here to Ismail on the exit of the corner. Oh, we've seen that before. Oh, that's huge. And Ismail, unfortunately, back in pit lane. No choice but to tow. That's a shame. It was a good race for Ismail.
He wasn't backing Genski up towards Fry, was he?
I don't know. It was hard to tell from those angles, but regardless, Genski was the one who, the other car was the one that definitely made the contact. So
yeah, you've got to not hit the guy in the corner unless, you know, they're braking in the middle of the corner. If they're slower than you through the corner, you've got to work out a way to race them and pass them. And if you're quicker, then leave them behind. So just wondering how that worked out.
Well, we are inside 10 minutes to go. And things are looking a little bit more racy between our leaders than they did before. Jameson Sampaio forcing Joao Hedler to go a little bit tight into the Andretti hairpin. It looks like, you know, they've gotten the gap over the rest of the field that they wanted. They have 16 seconds back to Michael Folds, and they can afford to have a little race with each other here. But they've got to be careful not to push it too hard.
It sure is going to get dark as well. Right towards the end here, you do all of your practice and hold the race in the daytime conditions for something like this, and then suddenly it gets dark and the racetrack looks a little bit different. Where you're looking for your turn-in points at different places looks different, particularly at the top of the hill at the corkscrew here. If you're using that reference as sort of the third tree, what happens if the third tree's in the dark? So the racetrack begins, like physically, dimensionally, it's the same racetrack, but it begins to look different.
Yeah, your reference points change as the environment changes, so you need to be careful of that. I think this is the first time this season we've been racing into the dark. The 50th lap being completed here by Joao Hedler, still running great pace at the front of the field, but Jameson Sampaio still holding the fastest lap of the race, only by just under 0.02 of a second from Michael Folds.
The pace of the top three compared to the rest of the field right now is stark as well, with sort of mid 136s for the top three and everyone else 137s, 138s. Eugenio Pollicci, a 143 with the adventure that he's been on. Genski's got a black flag. Kyle Genski from the lead of open class has a black flag. Logan Fry goes to the lead of the class. Did he cut the corkscrew and not give up the slowdown penalty? Did he hit the incident limit?
I get the feeling it might have been incident limit.
He hit the 25 incident limit. He has a drive-through. He's stopping in his box for some reason. It should be a drive-through.
Well, he's going to be taking some right side tyres anyway.
The slim championship hopes for Kyle Genski end in that fashion. There was a chance you were thinking he's on for a good points haul here. He's ahead of Logan Fry. They could be a couple of positions ahead of Logan Fry. It was possible. It was going to be close. But the pressure may have gotten to Kyle Genski. A couple too many incident points as well. So he's maybe pushing it all a little too hard to try to chase that dream, improbable as it was. Not impossible. Not any of the various types of impossible that we've learned of.
Of course. Well, it looks to me like Fry succeeding in getting past Pollicci there, and Eugenio with now 4 laps on this stint looks pretty locked in to 8th spot.
What's going on with Pollicci's pace? Because last lap was a 40, 2 laps ago was a 43. This was a 41. His best pace, it's right there, is a 135. He's nowhere.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
For Eugenio, I think. Genski's just had another problem. He's crashed into the tire bundle out of turn 6, and it looks like he's retired now. So, disastrous end of the season for the 555. In terms of Pollicci, I think it might just be a case of he's got new tires on that car for the first time in a while, and maybe not dealing with the cold temperatures of the tires as well as he'd like, especially as the track itself is getting cooler as the sun dips below the horizon. It's only a degree cooler than it was at the start of the race, but that still makes a difference.
So he wasn't handling the heat, and then he wasn't handling the colds. In the end for Kyle Genski. It's Ray Lombardi just ahead of Lincoln Fox here. Lombardi quicker on the last lap. He's in the top 10 on that rare 3-stop strategy.
Not entirely intentional, it has to be pointed out.
They could catch Pollicci. He's done another 141. He's 4 or 5 seconds off the pace consistently, multiple laps in a row. Whatever's going on for Pollicci. He had a 14-second stop at his last stop. He didn't short fuel it, did he?
I don't know. This is very strange from Eugenio. I did think it would be tire warm-up issues, but clearly something else is going on. See what happens. Pollici's about to come across the line again, and we'll see what lap time he sets this time round.
There he is, just up the road, and then John Miller, and then these two, and with probably 3 more laps to go for these drivers.
Yeah, it's another 141 for Pollicci.
They're going to get him. They're 4 or 5 seconds a lap quicker, and he's just here.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm rewinding through Pollici's laps since he came out of the pits, and I'm not seeing anything untoward about them. There hasn't been any mistakes. So I think the answer is yes, he's short-filled it. He doesn't have enough fuel to get home.
3 minutes 5 seconds on the clock just now as Joao Hedler and Jameson Sampaio cross the start-finish line. It means we definitely have 2 more laps of Laguna Seca to go. That's 2.5 more for Eugenio Pollicci here to try to hold on. And 2 laps to a championship for Joao Hedler, his first time in Spec-5 World Tour.
Yeah, these two have come in and really shown the level of pace you can ascend to in these cars. They've been challenged multiple times, but in the end, Hedler, I think far and away the most consistent and fast performer of this season. And it's still not quite over yet. We're still going to have 2 laps to go when they come across the line next, or maybe even 1 lap to go. Not entirely certain. But at the end of it, Hedler will certainly be a deserving champion.
Absolutely. This is Adams and Coimbra. So is this the lap? Has Politi picked it up a little bit? He's gone to 139, so that's really only about 2-3 seconds off. Because he had like a 143 and then he got back into 141s, then 140s, now 139. So he's slowly picking it up again. Maybe he's starting to feel a little bit of that pressure as John Miller, Ray Lombardi, and Lincoln Fox get closer. Is the white flag waving for our race leaders? I think it is.
Yep, certainly is. Barney was waving it like mad as Hedler and Sampaio came across the line. This is the perfect scenario for CFPM Sampaio Racing. 1-2, having held on to it for the majority of the race, and the provisional winner of the race here being champion-elect as well.
Same's true of the open class, where after that long first pit stop, Logan Fry's kept it clean to go back into the lead of the race. He's going to take the white flag right now. Barney's in there somewhere. You just got to believe us. But for the championship leader in open class, he's now the race leader out on track in open class. And it's all downhill to the checkered flag for Joao Hedler, his teammate Sampaio, just off his rear bumper for what's going to be a dominating CFPM 1-2 in the double-length season decider for Spec-5 World Tour at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna, Seca. Double the length, double the drama, with it all on the line. It's been absolute perfection from Hedler and Sampaio. Joao Hedler tallies another win and tallies his first Spec-5 World Tour Championship.
And the celebrations begin already. Sampaio and Hedler sliding
black flag.
across.
Jensky with another black flag. As Michael Folds, a great championship that he's run, another great race that he's run, but it's not ahead of Joao Hedler and it's not enough to take the championship.
Still, from 26 on the grid to a podium, that is the mark of a true great, and Michael Folds pulling it off there. Odyssey Adams finishing 4th ahead of his teammate here, Rui Coimbra, who's gotten chased down a bit by Michael Chase in these final few laps. But Chase couldn't quite do enough to get past him there. And then Logan Fry out of the final corner here. It looks like we have another champion to crown here in the open class. And that is an incredible finish there for Logan. 7th overall. And with many pro cars in between himself and the next open class competitor. Another deserving champion there.
I can see the incident counts, and it's 2 for Lee Martin, 8 for Brian Jabelski. Brian Jabelski's going to be Mr. Clean for Season 17 of Spec-5 World Tour as well. Remainder of the drivers finishing this double-length race, and out of relief or celebration, you're seeing a lot of sort of end-of-season, last day of school celebrations from everyone crossing the line. Is Donnie Moffat out of fuel? He might be. Lee Martin could pass him for position. No, these guys are a lap down. They've already taken the checkered flag.
That's an in lap.
Had me for a second.
Ah, dear. Well, we we, I think, have some context for what happened on the formation lap as well from Jameson Sampaio. He says his PC crashed. I think that might be a language translation thing, potentially a screen failure for him. So that might be what happened there. But let's go through these results, David. Final race of the season, and what a race it was.
It's cherry on the cake. It's perfection. It's crowning glory for Joao Hedler, as the race winner extends his championship lead on his way to the championship at the final race of the season. His teammate along for the ride, if you could not, to help him celebrate. They make it a 1-2 and they put more cherries and more cream on that cake with a fantastic race, a fantastic way to send off the season for them. Michael Folds, what a challenge and a competitor he was. He finishes in third. Odyssey Adams and Rui Coimbra, not a bad race from those teammates there. In formation for many of it, they finished 4th and 5th, ahead of Michael Chase. Logan Fry, race winner for Open Class, champion for Open Class. Eugenio Polici, John Miller, and Cameron Coolbeck completing the top 10. Ray Lombardi in 11th from Mike Oswalt, Brian Jabelski, Lincoln Fox, Peter Rosorkis, second for Open Class there. Donnie Moffat and Lee Martin, third for Open Class. Donnie Moffat was the first driver off the lead lap. Peter Rosorkis was the first driver off the lead lap. Then Donnie Moffat, Lee Martin, Frankie Sugamelli, Travis Hewitt, and Mark Kruger. Geordie Fike, 1 lap down. Sean Hayes, 1 lap down. Kyle Genske retiring late at the end. Jake DeGrand was out of the session and then back in. Lost about 6 laps to that. Ismail Ublal likewise at the end with the damage that he had, and not making it to halfway was Michael Coates, Jason Stalker, and Nicholas Shepard. Admins are quickly working through a whole bunch of the paperwork as far as making sure who's the champion, but we know who our pro and open class champions are, and maybe they'll get us the word about Mr. Clean as well. Let's get to our open class champion. Well, Logan Fry, double the length of race, double the drama, and it goes your way right at the end.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I made that harder than I needed to. I was told the pit stop was going to be 50 seconds long and took a little break. So that was my fault.
Whoopsies. Who in the team's sabotaging you then?
Michael Foltz, for sure.
Okay, throw him straight under the bus. Good work. And I mean, what do you make of the double length race, 2 pit stops? It adds some weight to the final race of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if I knew more, I think there were some really interesting strategies that could happen. I don't know if somebody did like a split strategy where they took 4 tires twice, but I think that would have been pretty interesting if there was time for it.
There was all sorts of different strategies. You did 24, 19, and then 13 laps. Michael Folds finished on the podium with 8, then 24, then 24. So he sort of ran it backwards the other way from you, but I guess just based on where he started on the grid. You obviously had a championship lead, but perhaps not a massive championship lead heading into this final race.
Yeah, I was 32 points ahead of Genske and kind of was right next to him in that first stint and got to kind of lift and coast behind him. So I got the point for open, and then I think I led a lap because I stayed out longest. So that got me to 34 in front of him. So I just needed to stay within 10 spots of him, I think. And had a really good second run, got to follow Ismail, who's way faster than me, and caught back up to him at the end, and it looked like he got a black flag, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, 25 incident limit for this race, up 5 from the others. Were there any particular places you were maybe struggling with the off tracks?
Everywhere. The nice thing about being able to stay behind him in that first stint is I went into the pits with I think 2x. So I really got to bank a lot of them in the first half of the race. Whereas I think a lot more people were struggling with it. So it was nice to not have to worry about incident points. I think it was not the case for a lot of people on track.
So you're going to get promoted out of open class almost certainly. What are you going to have to find to become pro class champion?
I think pro class champions out of reach for me, but I would love to just stay in the top 10 and hang with people. I had a great second half of the year. And had a ton of fun in this league. It's a big props to you guys and the admins here for having a league that's fun and interesting to be in. It's the first one I've actually done or completed. And that's because of the hard work that everybody's putting in. So, I mean, I'm excited to switch and, I think the goal next season is just going to be in the top 10.
That's awesome. We've heard a little bit from the admins about when we might expect season 18 of Spec-5 World Tour. Not going to start next week. It'll be a couple of months away, but in the back half of the year, we expect to go Spec-5 World Tour racing again, and we expect to see you there.
Yeah, can't come soon enough. Again, thank you to everybody. Thanks to Kyle and Lee for the good open class season. Thanks to Box 5 for, teaching me how to drive. And, again, admins and you guys for hosting us. Really appreciate it.
Well done. Congratulations on the championship. Find some free space on a shelf for the trophy and go celebrate.
Sounds good. It's going to go next to the trophy that Michael Coates made for me when I won Texas as a division. So it'll be a nice mantle now.
Exciting and delightful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks all.
Reese Gardner, the man of the moment in pro class, is going to join us. Parabéns, João Hedler, Spec-5 World Tour Campaio. Have I got my pronunciation right? Seeing if we have João Hedler here, Reese.
I think he might still be celebrating. There he is.
Eu vou falar um pouco em português mesmo, porque meu inglês está muito ruim, mas I just want to thank you all guys for the championship, for the broadcast. I really like race here, and that's it. I will speak in Portuguese. Eu queria agradecer aí a todos da equipe CFPM e agradecer a todo mundo que assistiu e compartilhou. Eu acho que foi uma temporada bem difícil. Tivemos alguns problemas em algumas etapas. A última etapa eu não pude participar, eu tive que viajar, então realmente foi... E eu não tinha mais descarte, então eu realmente não podia faltar nessa, não podia acontecer nada de ruim. Quase aconteceu um desastre na primeira volta, tenho que analisar ali e ver o que aconteceu. Mas é isso, galera. Thank you, guys. See you on next season.
See if I have this one right. Você o campeão.
Você é o campeão.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. Well done. Congratulations. Great race. CFPM position 1, position 2 at Laguna Seca.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, obrigado, parabéns. Thank you, João.
Great to hear from our champion. And did you hear a bit of emotion in his voice there? It certainly seems like it's been, an extra tiring race of double the length, and he's from the very beginning known what he needs to do in this race to take the win and to take the championship. And it was just a matter of 90 minutes of alongside his teammate putting in that work.
Yeah. I think if he'd be feeling any emotion, it'd be relief in addition to just jubilation, euphoria at taking this championship in style. I mean, what a season it was from João, and I really hope that he's back for next season, because there's a new benchmark for everyone to race against here.
Absolutely, there is. For Joao Hedler, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in the 13-round season to take the championship, and one that he absolutely deserved. There were days that no one could touch him, and he brought along a handful of his teammates as well, and we loved having them in Spec-5 World Tour. We loved having you with us for Spec-5 World Tour on HJBC this season. Rumours from the administrators is they'll be taking a bit of a break for Spec-5 World Tour, and it may be back sort of in the second half of the year, maybe starting in August, September, around that time. Hopefully we'll be back, and hopefully you'll be back as well. Pro Class champion Joao Hedler, Open Class champion Logan Fry, and a great season finale from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. David Haynes here on HJBC with Reese Gardner and Michael Derby. We'll see you next time.